X-ray tactics are one of the most common type of tactics in chess. In this position, my opponent absolutely shocked me with their next move, taking advantage of an X-ray tactic. And if you don't know what that is, don't worry. By the end of this video, it's going to make complete sense. I'm going to show you a game that I played in my recent OTB tournament that illustrates this concept perfectly. So having said that, let's go ahead and actually just jump right in to the recap here. So this is round 2 from the OTB tournament that I'm currently playing in. My opponent was a 10-year-old kid named Martin, and you have to watch out for these kids because they are just so good. It's kind of ridiculous, and I knew this going into this game. So my strategy was like, try to play something kind of positional and maybe avoid the crazy tactics. So they played d4. I played g6. I've been experimenting with the modern, and I decided let's break it out here. So we Phi and Kettle the bishop, lining up across the board this way. He plays knight c3. I play d6, e4, knight c6. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm not an expert on the modern. I didn't exactly know what I was doing. I just knew that like this is very similar to a King's Indian defense where you kind of sit back and at the right moment, you're going to strike with e5. So that's basically what I'm setting up. I'm just getting ready to play e5. He plays bishop e3. I played e5. And I guess there's a lot of things white could do here. They could take. They could probably try to defend it. But he plays what I think is the best move, d5. Pushes forward and he gains space for white. I dropped back. He plays bishop e2 and I played f5. So this is a pretty common idea in these King's Indian modern type setups, where a lot of times your knight's going to be on f6 and you'll have to move the knight first and then play f5. And so I was just trying to save some time by going here now and then bringing my knight up to follow after. And I felt like, okay, this is maybe going to steer the game in towards some positional territory where there's lots of maneuvering. And I felt like my experience might be better in a game like that than like with a bunch of crazy tactics. Okay, he plays queen a4 check, which I thought was a little bit of a strange move because I got to play bishop d7 for free. But then he goes queen b3, which, okay, it's kind of annoying because now I have to decide, how am I going to defend the pawn? Am I going to put my rook here and lose this pawn for free? No. I could play b6, but then you weaken the light squares. I could play queen c8, but do I really want my queen kind of guarding a pawn over here? Like, I don't know. So I decided to play b6. And my logic was, yes, I'm creating some weaknesses here, but I know my king's going to go the other way, so I'm not worried about my king. This square I already have defended pretty well, and I don't really see how he's going to take advantage of that. This square, it's like, who cares? So I felt like this is a good way to just kind of shut down the queen. So that's what I decided to go with. Okay, he plays knight f3. I went here. Castles, castles. He played a4, and I'm thinking, okay, he wants to push. He wants to open this up, get the rooks involved. And when you play these King's Indian type of setups, a lot of times the goal is to like maybe push these pawns forward and actually attack on the king side. And sometimes white is going to be attacking on the queen side. So I was thinking to myself, if I can shut down what's going on the queen side, it's going to be better for me when I launch my attack over here later. So I played the move a5. Now, right at this moment, I want you guys to pause and see if you notice any good moves for white. And I'm going to be honest with you. When I was playing the game at this moment, I thought my position was about as rock solid as could be. I'm like, I'm feeling super confident. I'm not going to be surprised by anything. Everything is great. And it was right here that my opponent, the 10-year-old Martin Tang, shocked me with the X-ray tactic. What do you think he played? Okay, so I mean, from a quick glance, like I've got these beautiful pawn chains. Everything is defended. My knights are supporting everything. The bishops are a little passive, but what could possibly go wrong with my position, right? He plays the move c5, and I was just like, do what now? C5? I'm sorry, is that not a free pawn? Like multiple ways? And then I realized, if I take this way, which I did not do, d6 check is a discovered attack, and I'm going to be losing my knight, and I'm losing the game. Okay, so I have to watch out for that. And this is what an X-ray tactic is. So in chess, when we say X-ray, we're talking about a long-range piece that is lined up on something else. So if you look carefully, the queen is lined up on my king. And a lot of people, they don't understand how powerful this can be because they think, well, yeah, there's 2 pawns in the way and this pawn can't even move. So, like, what are you even talking about, Nelson? You don't have anything to worry about, right? But actually, that's not true. And as we saw here, bam, he plays c5. And already, if I take, there it is, right? That's how quick it can happen. You say, but Nelson, you didn't take that way, did you? You took the other way. Yes, I did. I took the other way. Great. But what if they play bishop takes c5? For example, this is not what happened in the game, but I was thinking if they took that and I take, again, the d6 move happens. And he's busting open the position and coming at my king. Not really what I wanted. Martin actually plays knight takes e5 instead, but it's the same idea. If I take this knight back, which I did not do, d6 check. And I have to save my king. Of course, if I block, I'm just going to lose the knight anyway. Apparently, that's not the correct way. This is the correct way to take it. But I'm going to lose the knight. If I get out of the check, he's going to take me. And even though it's kind of just a trade, it completely opens up the position. Now the bishops are going to be more powerful. There's the square on d5. And this is not at all what I wanted, right? So I'm like, oh, man, you got to be kidding me. So he hits me with knight takes e5. And I'm like, okay, this is not how I wanted to start this game. We're getting into crazy tactical complications already. This is not going well. So, okay, I'm like, Nelson, you got to regroup, get it together. The game is not over. Try to figure out what you can do. So I kept noticing like all these different lines where I can never really take this because of the check. There's bishop takes c5 and it's the same thing. I can never really take it because of the check. Like this was just such a problem for me that I played king h8. And you could see the engine is like, nope, that was not the move. Apparently, I'm supposed to just take this and pretend like this doesn't exist and let him take this and the game goes on and I'm doing fine. I thought it was important to get away from this. So I went here. And the reason it's not good for me is because he can go ahead and take and get the bishop pair, right? And then the game goes on, but these bishops are going to be very powerful. He did not do that, though. He played knight to c4. Okay, so according to the, and by the way, the eval bar is going to go up and down, but you have to remember, neither of us playing the game have access to that, so we don't know what's going on, right? This looks like a totally reasonable move, just because the eval bar is going crazy over there. All right, I captured here. He played bishop g5, and I'm thinking, all right, so he's lining up here. He probably wants to take this at some point, depending on if he gets the pin here. You know, I'm like, okay, how do I get my pieces more active? I'm pretty passive here. And I just was like, let me do something that kind of clarifies the situation here. So I played h6. He captured, and he grabbed the pawn on e4. Now, the reason I allowed this to happen was because I noticed that I would be able to plant my bishop on d4. And in my mind, I'm thinking, this is a pretty good bishop. Like, I'm attacking the king here, so we've got pressure on f2. We have the pressure here with the rook coming to b8. That could be annoying. And it's not easy for white to deal with this bishop because it's defended by the pawn. I mean, yeah, you could attack it with the rook, but are you really going to give up your rook for the bishop? Probably not. You could try to figure out a way to attack it with one of your knights, but that's going to take at least 2 moves. And I'm thinking, okay, in those 2 moves, I'm going to be able to do some cool stuff. All right. He plays the move queen to g3. Okay, queen g3. What's the deal? Well, he's attacking this pawn, but it's already defended. Great. Now, keep in mind, I was looking for ways to attack the king. This is kind of the general plan when you play the king's Indian. So I was really excited about the move knight to f5. And I was thinking to myself, if I could just play knight f5 here, let him take this and play rook g8 and launch an attack, maybe this would be good. And I got lost in the complications of what was happening after this. And apparently it's just slightly better for me. And I don't want to go down a super long rabbit trail, but just know I spent a lot of time thinking about, should I play knight f5? And ultimately decided, no, I should not do that. And apparently Stockfish says the best move was knight takes d5, which is really interesting because it's kind of the same idea, just to go ahead and let him take it. But now you come out with the queen. And I don't know, you're defending here. I guess the knight's jumping in, the rooks are coming over, and this is a really amazing position for me. For some reason, I didn't consider it. I think I was afraid. Like, why am I going to open up my king like this? And I don't really see like a clear follow-up. And I just couldn't bring myself to do it. And so I played g5, which is the second best move. Stockfish is like, this is, if you're not going to take the pawn, okay, this is the next best thing. So that's what I played, g5. All right. He goes bishop g4. I'm not exactly sure like what the logic was here, like why he was wanting to trade this. I didn't quite understand. So I'm like, I'm just going to go ahead and grab the pawn now. Then he plays queen h3. And I'm like, oh, that was his idea. He's creating the battery here, attacking my bishop. And guess what? He's attacking on h6. So I was like, okay, I got to be careful. I got to be careful because my king is running out of shelter. Like, if this happens, I need to make sure I'm going to be fine. So I calculated for a while and ultimately came to the conclusion that I think I'm okay. I took the bishop. He came in with check, which I did see he could do. I didn't think he was going to do it because I thought, no, there's no way you could do this. Because it almost looks like a perpetual check back and forth, but it's not. Because if he would have gone here, I could play bishop g7. And I'm like, I'm fine. I'm okay. Then I noticed something. He actually has a knight capturing g5, which is a checkmate threat. And guess what? That's what he played. Knight takes g5. I'm like, uh-oh. We got to be careful here. This is checkmate. This is checkmate. There's a queen in front of my king. I have no more pawn shield. There's a queen and a knight. Like, so first I was like, well, we have bishop f5. But then I was thinking, if I go bishop f5, what if he plays like g4? I can't take it, of course, because I get checkmated. And I'm like, I don't know. I guess I could still move the bishop somewhere. And, you know, I was thinking, like, if I move it, he keeps attacking it. And it was like, I might get into trouble. So I decided to play instead. Sorry, let me go back to the actual game. Instead of that, I played queen d7. So I'm defending the checkmate using the queen because I didn't think he could easily chase my queen away. And maybe I'm going to play queen g7 and get this queen out of here. Okay, so I played here. Martin goes rook to a3. Now, I did look at this, but it gets more scary when it's actually played, okay? And again, it's easy to look at this game, but oh, yeah, Nelson's totally winning. Look at that eval bar. By the way, let me know in the comments, do you like the eval bar on or would you prefer it being off? Because it's kind of nice to be able to see it, but then it's also kind of nice to have the real life feel of like, who's winning? Like, because I didn't know. I mean, I felt like I should definitely be better, but I was also like, I have to be really careful here because you could easily mess this up if a rook lands in the wrong square. And next thing I know, I'm getting checkmated, right? So I played knight f4. And my idea is I didn't want to let him go to g3 because now if he goes rook g3, I just get a fork and I take the rook. So knight f4 was a way to prevent that basically and bring the knight closer to his king. He played h3, attacks my bishop. I thought about moving it, but I decided I'd go ahead and throw in this move, attack on the queen first, chase the queen around. He went here, and my whole plan at this point was basically don't let this rook come over and cause you problems. You've got the queen and knight covered. You're up a piece. Like, just don't do anything crazy and let this rook come over, and you're going to be fine. So I played the move knight check, which Stockfish doesn't like it. Apparently, Stockfish wants me to put the bishop there. I thought about it, but I also thought, like, he's going to go here, and I was like, I don't want to deal with this and miscalculate something. Apparently, I just take, and it's fine. There's nothing here, but this looks super scary, right? There's a rook, there's a queen, there's a knight. I mean, yeah, I guess rook g6, and I'm fine. But I was like, I don't know. For some reason, I was seeing ghosts or something, so I was afraid of that. So I played check here with, I just did not want to let the rook come there, is basically it. He goes king h1. I drop the bishop back. He plays rook e1, attacking my knight. So I defended it. Okay, great. Damn, rook takes e2. What is this guy doing? He is getting rid of the knight because guess what? That rook is coming over to g3. Coming over to g3. I took it because I had something planned. He goes here. Now, here's what I was thinking, okay? And I don't generally try to go off too many rabbit trails, but I'm going to show you one here because this was an important moment in the game. Actually, if you want to pause, what would you play in this position? Maybe this is a good moment to work on your calculation. What would you play and why? Think about it carefully. Okay, so this is a different type of X-ray, right? The rook is X-raying my king. We already talked about it earlier when the queen was X-raying, and we saw how quickly those pawns could be moved out of the way based on a few simple things. Here, this is called a discovered check. He can move this knight anywhere he wants, creating a very powerful discovered check on my king. So I have to be extremely careful. For example, a move like this, check, and then takes my rook, forks these, something like that. So what I was initially planning on doing was going check, taking here with my bishop, and my logic was wherever the knight moves, I'm going to be able to take this with check. And then even though he can take me with check, I thought, okay, I'll just move somewhere, maybe like rook g6. And then I was thinking, but then he's got this fork. I move. He sacks. He takes this. And I should be okay. But that's basically what I was thinking. Something along those lines. And I think there was another line I was looking at related to that where, let me think about this for a second if I can remember, where he moved this knight somewhere else. Where was it? Where was it? Was it here? Check, check. No, I thought it was here. Check. You know what? Maybe I didn't see rook g6. Maybe I was thinking of something else. Yeah, I think that's what it was. I was thinking of doing something else, and then he can like take my rook, and like all these lines were going through my mind. Okay, and I was having a bit of trouble like being super accurate about everything. And then I realized something. Okay, back to the game. I realized, actually, I did go check. He did go here. I realized I'm already up a rook. Okay, at this moment, we have the 2 bishops against the 2 knights. I'm up a rook. Let me just go here and just put a stop to all of those X-ray shenanigans. There's no more discovered check. I just blocked it off. So that's what I did. And I felt a lot better about that. He played rook b3. He's still trying to be sneaky, come in this way. I said, yeah, I don't want to have to deal with this. Don't want to have to deal with that. So I played rook e8. Because if I'm sleeping and I just like let him do this, this is, oh, that's a check. But if I play like a different move, I don't know, some other random move, this is very dangerous, right? Because if I have to go here, checkmate, like you can see why I didn't want to allow that. So also, even if I block at this point, he just takes, for example, and this could happen. It's not checkmate, and apparently I'm surviving, but I was like, no, I don't even want to mess around with any of that kind of stuff. So I just played rook e8. I'm like, that just stop that. He goes rook b7. I played d5, attacking his knight. He's trying every trick in the book. He's hoping I take it because he can take my queen and win the game. I took with the rook instead. He goes queen g3. This guy is not letting up. He is out for blood, and he was not going to go down without trying everything. But I noticed that I could actually just take the rook, allow the check. He went here, and I simply played queen g7, avoiding any shenanigans with the knight coming in, because now my bishop can just take it. And here he resigned, and I won my second game, but it wasn't easy. Okay, it was not easy. There was a lot happening. And let's actually go back and just recap this X-ray attack, because I think so many people would miss this. I wasn't even thinking that this would be a possibility. I was not even like, and it should have crossed my mind. Like, there is a queen X-raying my king. Whenever that happens, you guys need to be aware in your games, like, wait a second. These things can happen so quickly, right? You push this forward, he's going to start messing up my pawn structure, so I'm going to take him. But then, bam, he's got these sacrifices, which open it up, and all of a sudden, my position is not nearly as solid as I would like it to be, okay? So, do not forget about those X-ray attacks. Pay close attention and look for those surprising moves, because when those diagonals open up, that's what can cause you problems. All right, guys? I hope this was helpful. This was round 2. We're 2-0 going into the next round. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Oh, and actually, really quickly, I do want to show you the game review. I almost forgot again. Here we go. Let's check. How did we do in this game? Okay, 85-75. So I had a pretty good accuracy. Yeah, pretty proud of that. Obviously not as good as the other game, but this one was much more complicated and lots of tactics and stuff was happening. So, all right, thank you guys, and I will see you next time.